So you want to hear a real horror story? No haunted houses, no clowns, just the kind of stuff that happens when greed devours a person's soul. Well, get ready, dark copers, because this one's going to chill you to the bone. It's about a surgeon, Dr. Alan Masters, and two of his patients, Emily and Lisa. Dr. Masters is a well-respected surgeon at Mercy Hospital. By day, he saved lives, but by night, he played a much darker game. It all started innocuously enough, with a simple color-coded system at the hospital. White wristbands for the living and red wristbands for the deceased. They were just bands, but for Dr. Allen, they became a symbol of something much more sinister. He worked the night shift. Less prying eyes, more opportunities to engage in his secret side hustle. You see, the good doctor had racked up a mountain of gambling debts, and the people he owed weren't the kind you could just file for bankruptcy against. They were the kind that made people disappear. Desperate to settle his scores, he found a lucrative, albeit morbid, way to make quick cash harvesting organs from the very patients who trusted him with their lives. Dr. Masters turned to the black market to sell his commodity. His latest operation involved a woman named Emily. It was supposed to be a routine appendectomy. Dr. Masters put her under with a smile, reassuring her. But once she was unconscious, he had a smile that was sinister. The surgery began, and it was clear Emily wasn't meant to wake up. With a few well-placed cuts, her fate was sealed. After ensuring her demise was silent and swift, he marked her with the red wristband, his grim signal that the operation had concluded in death, not recovery. He was on the way to the basement of the hospital where the morgue was to handle the gruesome particulars of his side hustle. As he entered the elevator, there was a woman already inside, so he struck up a casual conversation to distract himself from the weight of his actions. The elevator stopped at the basement level, and as the door opened, by surprise, Emily was walking towards the elevator, staggering slowly. In a panic, Dr. Masters mashed the door close button frantically to get to the highest level from the basement. The women on the elevator looked at him with aghast. "Why would you do that? That's incredibly rude," she exclaimed. "That was the woman I just operated on. She died on the operating table." "Didn't you see that red wristband she was wearing?" he said in a frustrating voice. The woman on the elevator smiled, a slow, knowing smile that made his blood run cold. She lifted her arm, revealing her own red wristband. "Something like this?" she asked. Her voice was hauntingly calm. His heart plummeted. How could this be? The woman on the elevator is one of his victims named Lisa. She had been one of his earlier transactions a few weeks back. She is supposed to be dead. The reality or madness of the situation began to dawn on him. Was he being haunted by the very lives he had stolen? Driven by fear, he fled the elevator when it reached the top floor, sprinting through the deserted hospital's corridors. His mind raced as he was confronted by visions of Emily, Lisa, and all the others he murdered. Their faces, their wristbands, his betrayal. It all swirled around him in a terrifying maelstrom. In a state of utter despair and haunted by his visions, he found his way out onto the roof of the hospital. The cold wind bit his face, howling like the screams of those he wronged. There was no way out, no redemption from the horror he created. In a final, desperate act to escape the nightmare, he jumped from the roof, crashing on top of a coroner's van below. As he laid there, broken, gasping for air, a flock of vultures that had been circling above the hospital descended from the dark sky. They swooped down on Dr. Masters, and with a grotesque tug, they plucked out his eyes along with all his vital organs. An eye for an eye, a poetic, horrifying end to his grisly deeds. As the darkness enveloped him, the last whispers he heard were those of Emily and Lisa, a chilling chorus of revenge and retribution. His story serves as a grim reminder. Greed can corrupt, transform, and ultimately destroy. It will take everything from you, even your very soul, leaving nothing but regret and despair in its wake. Remember, in the end, we all reap what we sow, and sometimes the price of our sins is paid in the most horrific ways imaginable. Dark Copers comment and share this video.